And now let's bring in Democratic Congressman Jim Himes of Connecticut. He is a member of the House Intelligence Committee. Nice to see you, Congressman. So you have this letter from former President Trump. Does he have any legal standing, in your view, to continue to fight these subpoenas?
Well, it's an interesting question. I mean, certainly for people that weren't in his administration, I'm thinking of Steve Bannon, who was not working for the president at the time, that the committee's interested in, and of course all the people associated with the Stop the Steal. He has absolutely no claim to executive privilege. Then it gets a little complicated, right? And I think the resolution, if we have time to get to that resolution, is that, first of all, President Biden, who is the president right now, is the ultimate arbiter of executive privilege. And, you know, he may decide that there's enough of an issue there to be careful. But look, we need to remember here, we can't lose sight in all these legal technicalities, Pamela, that the last president showed total disrespect for the law, for conventions, for norms, calling judges Mexican judges, violating the law every day. Every person who makes a decision, like President Biden, like judges, need to remember that we're dealing with a failed coup d'etat here, and that he gets no benefit of the doubt. That when discretion is involved, we need disclosure. We need to get the facts, because for the first time in our history, we almost, and very deliberately on the part of the president, did not experience a peaceful transfer of power. And it doesn't get more serious than that.
I want to note to our viewers, you serve on the House Intelligence Committee, played an important role in the Russia probe, so you've dealt with trying to piece together an investigation as participants refuse to cooperate. What should Democrats learn from what you experienced being on the committee and what we saw there with the Trump White House trying to play out the clock in court so that they wouldn't have to comply? What do you think Democrats should do differently now?
Exactly. I mean, you summarized it perfectly. You know, when we were investigating Ukraine, investigating Russia, both things that led to the president's impeachment, Ukraine in particular, a lot of witnesses just said, we're not coming. They showed contempt of Congress. And I am disappointed that we didn't come down hard on them. And by the way, this is not, you asked Democrats, this is not about Democrats. This is about the Congress of the United States, the representatives of the people. If the precedent gets established that anybody can just say, no, sorry, I don't want to talk to you. You know, my Republican friends understand that that is a very serious problem for them, because someday they will have the majority. They will want to subpoena people, and they will want people to answer those subpoenas. Sadly, my Republican colleagues today, that would be a sign of disloyalty to their president for life, and therefore they won't say it. But they understand that this isn't about Democrats, that this is about whether Congress will have the power that the legislature, the representatives of the people, should have.
But are you concerned, looking at the flip side of that, the precedent this could set by President Biden not invoking executive privilege, that in a future president would then, or a future Congress would then try to investigate him or other Democratic precedents, given what is at play right here?
Well, it's a really good question, and it's a really hard answer, Pamela, because remember, the last president, President Trump, used every available remedy, all of the things that were traditionally there to protect things like the conversations between an advisor and a president. He used all of those remedies not to protect legitimate conversations, but to shield himself from liability, which is why I go back to the notion that, yes, we can't just throw out the concept of executive privilege. Now, obviously, we can for Steve Bannon and lots of other people. But what I would expect the White House to do, which, by the way, the last White House would never have done, I would expect the Biden White House to look to see exactly what the committee wants and where there is a legitimate interest in getting that information. And remember, executive privilege does not protect criminal activity. It does not protect criminal activity. I would trust the Biden administration to make the judgment about whether something should, on behalf of future presidents, be protected, or whether something is critical to understanding the full details of what happened when we almost failed to have a peaceful transfer of power in our democracy.
All right, Congressman Jim Himes, thank you so much.
Thank you.